A huge part of staying successful on Medium is continuing to look at the evolving trends on the platform, right? So there are some stable kind of foundational aspects to how to be successful on Medium and how to be successful as a blogger, period. But I wanted to make sure that I'm spending some time getting specific, talking about trends that I'm seeing on the platform and giving you new and updated tips. These are things that I also do in some of my premium trainings, which you can find links to below. We have monthly coaching calls where we go through some of these different aspects of what's changing on the platform. So if you're one of these people who are looking for updated information, you can check that out. But I'm also going to make sure to give you that content freely available, at least part of it on YouTube, because in general, I want to see people succeed on the platform. I still think Medium is quite the viable platform for writers, still number one. And these are some of the tips, trends, things I'm seeing on the platform right now that I think will help you be successful moving into the future. So the trend, one of the major trends that I'm seeing right now is the idea that if you want to build a successful following on Medium, it is going to require you to have what I call a breakaway article. So I've seen this happen over and over again recently, where writers with, relatively low amount of followers compared to someone like me, they will have one article or a handful of articles do extremely well, and this article kind of paves the path to them getting more consistent views in the future. So while virality is not something that you can predict, it is something that you can try to bake the seeds of and create potential for it to have an article that really takes off. So what are some of the things that you can do to make that happen? Number one, always focus on creating that volume of articles to where you're simply increasing your odds by writing more articles. Now, there's kind of that quality versus quantity debate, and you don't want to get into a situation where all you're doing is kind of writing mediocre and subpar articles. But let's say you're really spending a really good amount of time, a few hours on each post. You're doing, 2, 3, 4 posts a week. You're gonna put yourself in a position to be successful. So if you're writing enough articles and you're writing quality articles, then you have a chance to get that viral article. I'm someone who is very honest about what it takes to be successful on Medium, and I have admitted over and over again that it is really kind of a steep hill to climb for a beginning writer. So you're gonna have to get a couple of those articles to really, really pop in order to have that success. So what are some of the quality elements that you can bake into your article? Well, some of the things that I've talked about in many different other videos on the channel, from having a headline that's really intriguing and appealing, and it doesn't necessarily have to be kind of the traditional blogging headlines like how to or list posts or things like that. You can switch it up and try different things, but that headline should still have those elements that make a headline successful, and that is things like piquing curiosity, right? So I've seen headlines, people have been doing this little technique of kind of documenting and profiling things that happen in the world, whether it's business success, life experiences, or whatever. And they'll maybe have a headline saying something like, this startup did X, Y, and Z, and 18 months later, they achieved this outcome, right? So it's not exactly something like straightforward as, this is how to do this. Here are your 7 tips for doing this. But it still follows along that path of intriguing curiosity. Like, what did that company do to get that result? What did this person do to fix their relationship? What is this secret that the headline is alluding to but not giving away? Making sure you're using kind of emotionally evocative words in your headlines. Making sure that when you're writing, these are some of the elements that, take a while for me to break down, and is kind of why I created that flagship program in the first place. But there are so many little things that you can do from your headline all the way to the bottom of the article to get that viral effect going. Things like anticipating what the reader might be thinking and either kind of confirm their beliefs by predicting what they're going to see next, or knowing what they're going to see next and taking them in a whole nother direction and really giving them that surprise element. Becoming very good at telling stories. A great way to become good at telling stories is to read the story and Ask yourself whether or not you would be interested in that story if it wasn't you who was writing it. Going through when you're editing your articles, every line you look at, you should ask yourself, does this move the essay, the story, the article forward, or is it redundant? Am I repeating the same things? Is this out of place? Does this not fit the narrative? So there are a lot of things that you can do while creating an article to have that viral potential. But I've noticed that kind of breaking through the barrier to where a lot of writers on Medium, beginning writers, aren't making very much money or having very much fans. You're going to need that breakthrough article. So the combination of kind of getting that Pareto principle, where you're 20% of your articles are getting 80% of the views, along with having that viral article pop up in that 20%, can help you move to that next level. And I've been seeing a lot of stories pop up recently of people who don't have a ton of followers, who don't have crazy experience, and this still really makes me so bullish on the platform, because I'm still seeing people who, in the quote unquote saturated market of Medium, are still being successful. You can get curated without having a high follower count. You can get promoted without being the world's most renowned expert. Medium will look for quality stories and try to push them. So make sure that you're consistently doing the work, and as your skill level increases, you will have more of that viral article potential. The next thing I've noticed, and Medium kind of does this, they kind of play around with this on their homepage and their newsfeed all the time, is that you can begin to build a catalog of articles that will create a residual income. So sometimes if you look on your feed, you will see articles that will have a label on it that says something like based on your reading interest, right? Or based on your reading history. So what it'll do is it'll go through and kind of analyze the type of articles you like to read. Then it'll send you an article from someone's catalog well into the past. So recently I've been looking on my timeline and I've been seeing articles from 2019, 2018. I think I even saw one from 2017. So what does this mean for you as a writer? It means that the larger catalog that you create overall, the more you have an opportunity for these long-term residual incomes to kind of appear, right? So I've had articles where I wrote them a couple months ago, and then for whatever reason, Medium will go back and kind of pick up that article and start pushing it out. So I'll have articles where it didn't get a ton of views to begin with, but then the next thing you know, it's taking off. And I've had articles, in my catalog that have consistently kind of paid over $100 a month from over a year ago, right? So it's not so much that each month that I write, a bunch of my articles are going viral. That's not true at all. I'll maybe have one or two articles per month go really, really viral. I'll have a couple that'll do okay, and then I have literally dozens and dozens and dozens of posts in my back catalog that earn little bits of money that kind of equate to an overall high income that I make on Medium. So I'll have a dozen articles that make $10. That's $120. Another dozen that'll make 20 a piece. That's $240. Another dozen that'll make 30 a piece, 360. So you see how that adds up very quickly. And I've been on the partner program for like 3 years now. So while a good chunk of my articles do end up kind of maturing and reaching a life cycle where they're no longer getting any views at all, a handful of them continue to be a part of that catalog, and kind of creates that catalog effect where you're almost earning money like book royalties. So what this means for you is to make sure that you reach that catalog level so that you can take advantage of those opportunities. And to reach that catalog level, that means consistently writing that amount of articles for, at least a year, right? I've talked about this in previous videos where you want to get to around that year mark to really measure where you're at in terms of progress. Now, writing for a year doesn't guarantee that you're going to get to that point, but it's a good barometer to see where you're at, to where you can really start making decisions on what you need to do with your content. And speaking of the content itself and experimenting, you can definitely have an experimental attitude when it comes to your success on Medium. I've seen people write in all different sorts of lanes at the same time, and if that's something you're comfortable doing, You don't want to be boxed in. You could definitely write about a lot of subjects without having a specific niche. Now, what you don't want to do is fall into that trap where I always talk about treating your blog just as your personal journal to vomit out your thoughts. That's not what I mean by saying that you can write in multiple niches. You can write about as many subjects as you want, but make sure they're of interest to readers. So I've noticed there have been a lot of writers who are successful with this kind of hybrid model. So maybe they'll do a little bit of self-improvement. They'll do a little bit of love and relationships. They'll do a little bit of kind of cultural commentary, politics. And then I'll see someone who else has kind of a different stack where maybe they're doing self-improvement. They're doing articles about marketing. They're doing articles about finance. And, maybe they're doing some biographical stories of businesses and things like that. I've seen trends of the way people are trying to write articles to be successful. This idea of documentation, taking a story that happened in the real world and kind of doing a biographical account. I've seen that work really well. Kind of people writing about their lives and lessons learned. For example, I've seen a lot of relationship articles pop up, kind of about lessons learned from mistakes they've made, relationships they've been in, making observations. So there's a whole lot of different things that you can do. Like myself, I write about self-improvement. I'll write articles about writing, teaching other people how to blog. Every once in a while, when I feel so inclined, I'll kind of veer into the kind of cultural discourse a little bit. I'm experimenting with all sorts of things. A new technique I've been using lately involves taking questions from the website Quora.com, answering those questions, and turning them into articles that I turn around and publish on Medium. So that's a new technique that I've picked up this month. It's actually something I've used to do quite a bit in the past, but I kind of am revisiting it. So you're going to run into points in the future where maybe you're feeling like your style or your technique is getting a little bit stale. That's definitely happened to me, and I'm looking for new ways to always tweak, always pivot, always find different little techniques to keep things fresh. And this experimental framework will help you, because if all of a sudden you kind of find a little technique that works, you can ride it and kind of triple, quadruple down on it for a little bit. Maybe that matures and you kind of switch between these different models. But staying, or failing to stay boxed in, and kind of experimenting with different topics and subjects, as long as you're diligent and disciplined, and as long as you're, again, not just writing these personal journals, that's a strategy that can really work well. So those are 3 kind of tips and trends I'm seeing in the industry. The breakaway article, kind of waiting for that really big article to pop to take you to the next level. Making sure that you are experimenting and trying different ways of working with subjects, frameworks, titles, niches to kind of put your iron in different fires to get things to pop is another trend I'm seeing. And then the other one I mentioned was the idea of this catalog effect, that if you build a large catalog of articles and Medium like some of your old ones, they'll begin to push them for you and create a residual income. Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure to check out some of the resources below and see how we can go to the next level together. So there are going to be 2 different resources. One is going to be a free checklist, a free email course that walks you through how to be successful on Medium. It's a 5-day email course. Click the link, put your email in there, and you'll get access to lesson 1 right away. The next thing you'll check out is a Flagship premium online course teaching you everything I know how to be successful on Medium. If you're someone who just wants to dive in right away, check out that link, visit the page, sign up, and I'll see you on the other side. And those are the articles, or the resources, that you can check out, as well as many others that I have in the description. Things about how to start a blog, other videos. Check all those things out below. Just go look down right now. Okay. Lastly, make sure, if you enjoy the video, make sure to smash that like button, because it tells YouTube that this is a great video and it really helps other people who might be interested find the video. So hit that like button. Make sure that you leave a comment, your 2 cents, video ideas you want to see next. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel and hit the little notification bell so you can get brand new videos when they come out. There should be some other videos popping up in front of your face right now. Make sure to check those out, and I will see you on the next video.